Hey guys, so you might notice that I'm wearing the same shirt I've worn in the last two videos, and that's because I've recorded all three of these in the span of like 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours, because I keep messing up. My last video actually had me saying goodbye in a new way, because I didn't know what to say. And now I'm rambling at the beginning of this one, because again, I'm not really sure how to start the video. I guess maybe I should give some background to why I want to make this video. And really the reason why is because I'm playing with Fluff and I need to stop. I've been watching a few YouTubers talk about how to build a stash and how they build their yarn stash up and all that great stuff. But I don't hear a lot about, one, what friends should look for when trying to buy for you, like I talked about in my last video. And I also don't hear them talk much about what to do to make sure you're not getting yarn you hate. A lot of people kind of jump into it going, yeah, I want a yarn stash. I was one of those people. But they don't necessarily know what they're willing to work with, so they find the cheapest yarns. And that was me for probably like the first 3 years of me doing this, like doing the crafty crocheting stuff and the trying to learn how to knit stuff. I just kind of bought whatever was on sale. And even now, my grandma will tell me when there's a sale at like Joann's or Michael's or something. Or one of my friends who used to work at Joann's will be like, hey, they sent me coupons for something. Do you want me to go pick it up? And every time I hear stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know anymore. I used to say, yeah, let's do it. Let's get the yarn. Yarn is yarn, right? It's not. And most of you know not all yarn is the same. But you also, if you're new to crochet like I was, when I was just accepting all yarn at all times, you just kind of go, yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap, right? And then it will sit, it's going to sit in your stash forever. I feel like I need to explain that will be a forever stash holder. Or it will sit there until you realize I'm not going to use this. And then you're going to try and find some place to donate it, or you're going to throw it in the trash. And yarn never deserves to go in the trash. Unless it is absolutely ruined, yarn does not deserve to go in the trash. It deserves to find a project that it will look good in. And I will link the YouTuber who continuously says that down in the thing below, because she kind of got me thinking about it. And that is Hooked by Happenstance. Says it a lot. When she was doing her spring cleaning, I think like 3 years ago, something like that, I don't know. I think I stumbled upon it 3 years ago. She talks about how yarn deserves to be in a project. And it deserves to be in a happy project and in a finished project and all that kind of stuff. And if it just doesn't make her feel like she can do it and put it to good use, she gets rid of it. And after watching her video, I did the same. And I can tell you, I donated a lot of yarn to a club at a school near me because I didn't know what else to do. I just had zero answers on what I was supposed to do with the yarn. First thing to think about when you're going to the store to buy yarn. You see the beautiful skeins of yarn on the shelf. You even might see some for sale. Not all for sale all for sale yarn is bad yarn. Okay? But let's say you're looking in the store and you run across, well, let's say it's not yarn vomited, but it's just a nice skein of acrylic, a nice skein of cotton, and another nice skein of acrylic, this time a little bit thinner. These are your options on sale. So anything of worsted weight 4, your worsted weight acrylic yarn, your cotton yarn, or your, what do you guys call it? Your lightweight, or a 3, acrylic yarn. These are your options of what's on sale. For me, my first thought is going to be, go check the 4s, because that's what I work with. Second thought, what do we have in the 3s? Because I can manage a 3. Final thought, what's in the cotton? Because I don't use a lot of cotton yarns. So, if I really want to buy something on sale, I may buy a cotton yarn, because I do use it. But I'm going to need to be picky about it. So let's say I go to the acrylic yarns. I don't see anything pretty over there, right? I go over to the cotton, and I see something like this. And I instantly fall in love with the look of the yarn. Me buying that skein of yarn could be a mistake. And that is going to be one of those things that a lot of people are going to struggle with going into trying to build a yarn stash. They're going to look at it, go, ooh, that's pretty, and they're going to take it with them. This was not a mistake buy for me, but it could have been. When I looked at this yarn, I saw pretty colors, and my first thought was, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. I love the yarn. I love the look. I don't hate the feel. This stuff will be great. And then I had to find matching yarns. I had to find other yarn in this colorway from the same dye lot, and I managed to find 3. Actually, I might have managed to find 4 of this one. I don't remember. I'm not in the drawer right now that has it. I have not started the project with this yet. But that's important to note that I say yet, and that there is a project in mind. When you see pretty yarns, goal 1, can I pair this with something? Is this yarn a yarn that I'm going to need 20 of, or is this yarn a thing that I'm only going to need 2 of? I've picked up yarns that will pair nicely with this, plus I have bought more of this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, for sure. But when I looked at it, I went, here are my options. I could make a pillowcase out of this. I could make a blanket out of this. I could make a hat out of this. That's one of those things that I just started in the past, like, 3 or 4 years doing. What can I do with this yarn? I look at a 3 and I go, this is blanket yarn. I'm going to make a blanket out of this. That way I have the right number of them to start said project. And I don't have to worry about dye lots later, because later on you will not find an exact replica. And most yarns vary within their dye lot. So when you pick outside of a dye lot, you're getting even worse. Not all colors that are pretty work up well. I love homespun. I do. I love the homespun yarns. But they fluff. If you're a beginner, picking up something like homespun you need to understand that you are going to get fluff. And that fluff takes out bits that you get to use, and you need more of it. In my last video, I said, don't buy your friend stuff like homespun. Don't buy them a specialty yarn. Don't buy them something like homespun. Never buy them the mohair. They're things that you end up losing a lot of in the process of trying to work with it. I'm holding a cotton mix in my hand. This actually, it doesn't say that it can't be, I don't think. I don't think this is supposed to go in the wash. If you've watched any of my other videos, though, you know I don't care about what is and what isn't supposed to go in the wash. For the most part, if I crochet something, it's going through the washer. Even though there are tons of times I'm told, don't put that in the washer. It's not good for the blanket that you've made. If it's mine, it's going in the washer. And if it doesn't survive the washer, I can't sell it anyway. If you are a person who's like, I'm going to do this as a business, it doesn't go in the washer very well. It will rip and pull and tear and fluff in the wash. Acrylic won't, but that will. Cotton will shrink in the wash. Lily Sugars and Cream, this particular brand, because it's the only brand I've ever used of colored cotton, this stuff bleeds for about 4 washes. It will bleed into all your stuff. I hand wash this stuff the first 10 times I wash it. It's getting hand washed. Or it's going in with other things that are made of the exact same color, so it all bleeds in together nicely. It always bleeds, and that's how they get the vibrant color you see when you look at it. I'm going to bring back up that blanket. These are as vibrant as they can be in person, but look how dull they are. This is the same amount of vibrant. Look how vibrant this looks. The difference is this isn't washed into it yet. This is work with it, wash it, wash it, wash it, wash it. Now it's in it. And it makes it stay this color for a lot longer. But you need to know that kind of stuff going into it, because if you're a charity giver, like I do with hats, almost every year. I didn't do it last year. I didn't have enough hats, and I didn't know of any place that would accept them because of the virus going on. But most years I donate hats. I can't donate this unless I know I've washed it until it stops bleeding. Because if I donate it and I haven't, they're not going to take caution with it. They're going to throw it into the washing machine, and if it bleeds into everybody else's stuff, it bleeds into everybody else's stuff. Because that's how the charities work. They don't have time to wash things separately like that. This never bleeds. These never bleed. These fluff can't be used. A lot of wool products will tell you not to wash them. They fluff. Or they felt. So half the wool products, like I'm making a blanket right now that uses, I don't know, whatever that M word is in front of the wool. I'm using that stuff. And that stuff washes and fluffs. It doesn't felt. But when you use the pure wools, I don't know, like fisherman wool and stuff, that stuff felt real easy, and you can't wash it. So, small things to take into consideration. Always, when you go to buy something, have a plan. The plan can change later on down the road. That's fine. Things change. Life changes. Things around you change. Plans move away. But always go into it with a plan. You can't just buy yarn because you love the look of it. If you do, you'll have a lot of yarn that you just look at. I have a skein of pink yarn that my grandma bought me that sits in my collection of yarn. It's the only one like it. And I stare at it and I get inspirations. And I do the inspiration with every other color because I can't use that pink. I don't know what to pair it with. I don't know how to make it look good. But every time I see it, I think of a different project. That's fine, but you don't want a stash that's solely that yarn. You don't want your entire stash to be, I looked at my stash, thought of a million things to do with it, and did nothing because I don't have enough. So please, if you take anything away, go into the store, look at the yarns that you like to work with, and think, how can I use this? And when you have an idea, buy as much as you need for the idea. Having leftover yarn is fine. If you buy, for example, I do it all the time when I see yarns that I like these, I buy about 6 of them. I will never use 6 in a project unless I'm starting something brand new and I keep breaking it. It does not take 6 of those skeins to make a full-size blanket. Maybe if I'm making a king size or a queen size blanket, but my bed's a twin. If I'm making a blanket the size of my bed, I will never use a full 6 of these. It's a miracle if I use a full 30. But I went into it with an idea. It'll be put in a blanket. And I went into it with the mindset of how much do I possibly need, because leftover is fine. If I make a blanket and I end up using 4 of them for the blanket and I have 2 left over, I'm making hats out of them. I will hold them double and I will make a project from them. But I had an idea when I bought it, and that's why the leftover is fine. If you end up with a yarn skein that isn't a leftover, it just is there because you loved the color, fine. It's okay. Just don't make that your stash. Don't make your whole stash, I loved the color. I do it so often with things. I have a doll collection. I have about 3 shelves in my room filled with dolls. And I always look at them and go, I loved the hair. I bought that doll because of its hair. I bought that doll because of its teeth. My grandma got me 2 dolls. And she looked at them when she was in the store and went, they look ugly. And I looked at them and went, they're perfect. My collection is the dolls people look at and go, those are ugly dolls. I'm not about to make my yarn stash that, but I almost did. My yarn stash was almost the exact same thing. They look at the yarn and they go, you don't have anything that goes with anything. No 2 colors match. No 2 colors can be put next to each other and look like a fade. No 2 colors go together. That's a problem. Because more than anything, I wanted to crochet something. I say that story to then say everybody's going to have a different taste. Everybody's going to see something that is just perfect. And there are going to be times you're going to find the perfect yarn and not a complementary yarn. There are going to be times you're going to find the perfect yarn and you are not going to find more than one skein. There are times you're going to find a discontinued yarn and you're not going to know what to do. And in moments like that, my answer is, if you like the yarn, buy it. The problem is not, hey, you can't have a yarn that doesn't go with anything. The problem is you can't have only yarn that doesn't go with anything. Because you'll never make anything. It will never inspire you to do anything with it. Like that skein of yarn that is in my yarn stash that has nothing that I can pair with it. I look at it probably once a week at least and come up with a new project that I want to do. And I can't do it with that yarn because it doesn't go with anything. It gives me inspiration. There are a million things I want to do with that yarn, but I can't. I don't have anything that goes with it. I finally decided on what I want to do with it, but I don't have the yarn to do it. But I can buy it if I can figure out what I'm dealing with. So you know what? I think I just added an extra goal for this month to myself. I'm going to try and figure out a way to work through that skein of yarn. And I'm going to challenge all of you. If you have any yarn that sounds like the stuff I've been rambling about for the last 20 minutes, anything that is specialty yarn, anything that is cheap, and by cheap I don't mean, hey, it was on sale or something like that, but I mean like brittle, falls apart in your hands kind of yarn. If you have yarn in your stash that you have never used, even if you don't think of your yarn collection as a stash yet, if you have yarn in your crafting area, in your room, wherever you store your yarn, that you look at and you're like, it doesn't go with anything, I challenge you to either put the yarns to use or box them up and get ready to give them away. When it comes down to the yarn in your collection that you'll probably never use because it's brittle or whatever, that's a box it up and give it away. Specialty yarns can be given away. If you're not going to use them, you can give them to a place like a Goodwill or something, and somebody who may use them will run across them. I know of tons of people who make magnificent things out of the specialty yarns. And I could never do that. Specialty yarns are not my cup of tea. I could never do it. And I give mine to a Goodwill, and if somebody who is more talented than me runs across it and uses it, good on them. When it comes down to yarns you liked, let's say you have 20-something worsted weight yarns and you don't know what to do with them because none of them go together, I challenge you to use at least one of them in a project. It might mean that you have to go out and buy another color. For the yarn that I have that I've never used, I'm thinking I'm going to have to buy more black. because I'm thinking about doing a full black blanket except for one stripe in it that is that entire skein. And I think I can do it. It'll get it out of my stash, and it will get it into an item I might use, while still giving me a chance to look at the inspiration. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. I will talk to you guys probably in about a month. Which isn't that far away if you think about it. It's February, so this month is the shortest month, and I'm already on week 2 of it. And losing my mind. There's another 2 weeks, and at the end of... let's not say at the end of February. At the beginning of March, I should be off on a Monday, and that's when I'll record. That way I can get the stuff done on Mondays, because getting it done on Tuesdays is kind of wearing me out. Anyway, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.